Our dead are never dead to us until we have forgotten them. As always, I open this episode with that quote from George Eliot, because I believe it. By remembering those who have passed, we give them life. Let's remember those we lost in February 2024. This memorial episode of Toronto Mic'd is brought to you by Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. I don't take these memorial episodes lightly. For over a year, I've been recording these episodes to pay respect to those we lost, remembering that everyone who has passed has loved ones who miss them dearly. Every month I look at the names of the recently deceased and flesh out an episode that focuses on FOTMs or those who resonated most with the Toronto Mic'd audience. Which brings us to February 2024. This February was only 29 days long, making it the shortest month of the year. But it's also a happy outlier in that no FOTMs died, no massive cultural figures or FOTM adjacent people shed their mortal coil, which is a very good thing. But it means we'll have a shorter than usual memorial episode of Toronto Mic'd. For perspective, the most famous people to die were Richard Lewis, Carl Weathers, and Toby Keith. But I don't want to start with Richard Lewis, Carl Weathers, or Toby Keith. I want to open with Seiji Ozawa, and I'd like to connect with FOTM Andrew Ward to discuss his significance. FOTM Andrew Ward, thanks for spending some time today and telling me about Seiji Ozawa.
Thanks, Toronto Mike. Yeah, Seiji Ozawa. Seiji Ozawa was a conductor that passed away very recently, and he left an indelible mark on many cities and many cultures, including Toronto's.
So when did you first discover Seiji Ozawa? How am I doing with that pronunciation? Am I acing it?
I think it's fine. Seiji Ozawa. And it's a Japanese name, so my understanding is that just the pronunciation is just right straight through. As you read it, say it. Seiji Ozawa.
Seiji Ozawa. So when did you first discover this? He's a conductor. Now, I'll plead ignorance. I don't think this will be a surprise to anyone listening, but I don't know this conductor, but I don't know if I know any conductors. Like, except for in the REM song when they name check Leonard Bernstein. That's about all I know is Leonard Bernstein. So tell me about how you discovered this conductor.
And Leonard Bernstein's a perfect place to start, because if it weren't for Leonard Bernstein, the man would not have had a career. So what happened was Seiji Ozawa was born abroad, came to North America, and had the opportunity to study with very important and impressive conductors and teachers at that time, one of which was Charles Munch, and another was someone who many people are very familiar with. The name speaks for itself, Leonard Bernstein. So Seiji Ozawa made a correct step in becoming the assistant conductor to Leonard Bernstein in New York. At that time, New York was doing very well. If you look at any of the imagery in the film Maestro, that covers the story of Leonard Bernstein and conveys it, you'll see that. What was happening at that time, though, was that other cities were growing as well as their orchestras. And two of the cities that were growing and expanding immensely in North America at that time were San Francisco and Toronto. Seiji Ozawa had the opportunity to perform with San Francisco, who are considered one of the finest orchestras in the world, before coming here. And when he came to Toronto, it was a very, very difficult place for anyone in the arts community to make a living. At that time in the 60s, and it was around the mid-60s that he arrived, Mike, Seiji Ozawa was a man about town. He was a very young and impressionable 30-year-old, but he was one of the few Asian attendees at clubs that you'll be familiar with your other guests, the Riverboat or other places up in Yorkville. And the reality is that outside of, at that time, the very stuffy Massey Hall, these were the only other cultural places that people could go and listen to live music and socialize with one another. And what made Ozawa very important too was that while he was here, he realized he was a musician of his time. It was the 60s. While he was here in Toronto, he thought he'd make the most of it. So not only did he try and sprinkle culture within the city and around it, but he also grew his hair out long. He was one of the few Japanese men that had a mop top in the 1960s. He was one of the few people that had no shame in going out to public events wearing a floor-length shirt. This sort of thing wasn't the norm in Toronto at the time, and that he was able to participate with the orchestra. And while he was here, I can only say that fans of the Toronto Symphony would have welcomed him with the same sort of arms that they would have welcomed the Beatles at around the same time.
And I learned that he passed away on February 6th at the age of 88. And Andrew, I just want to tell you, I'm so appreciative that you told me about him and his significance to Toronto and the music scene in the 60s, because this one went right over my head. Not in my wheelhouse, but I'm very eager to learn.
So the thing about Ozawa that makes him important, that cements his reputation, was his recorded legacy. And what he managed to do was he managed to record the Toronto Symphony Orchestra performing music that was very modern and very new to many ears. So not the easiest crowds to win over. But what he managed to do is he managed to record that with the Toronto Symphony on an international record contract so that their recordings would be heard all over the world. And that was never done before Ozawa.
You put Toronto on the map.
Indeed.
Any choice song to take us out? I want you to request the song I'm going to add to this episode.
For historical purposes, we could listen to a few bars of Olivier Messiaen's Turangalila Symphony, which was the masterwork that he recorded. But there are others, but I'll just allow the music to play us out.
way you mess around with your man. It's a shame the way you hurt me. It's a shame the way you mess around with your man. I'm sitting all alone on the telephone, waiting for your call. When you don't call at all, it's a shame the way you mess around with your man. It's a shame the way you play with my emotions. It's a shame the way you mess around with your man. You're like a child at play on a sunny day. First you play with her and then you throw it away. Why do you use me? Try to confuse me. How can you stand to be so cruel? Why don't you free me from this prison for a certain time? As a fool, it's a shame the way you mess around with your man. It's a shame. To stay with you, show your love so true, but you won't appreciate the love we try to make. Oh, it's got to be a shame. Why do you use me? Why to confuse me? How can you stand to be so cruel? Why don't you feel?
Henry Fambrough was the last surviving original member of the Spinners, the group responsible for such hits as It's a Shame, Could It Be I'm Falling in Love, The Rubber Band Man, Working My Way Back to You, and Then Came You with Dionne Warwick. Henry had only retired from the Spinners in April 2023. He passed away on February 7th in Sterling, Virginia, at the age of 85.
I'm James Murray. Toronto's big red streetcars were still running like usual, like so much of Toronto was today, except for one city block, City Hall. Nothing normal here at all, as Rob Ford showed up for work a day after the confession heard round the world.
Do you smoke crack cocaine?
Exactly. Yes, I have smoked crack cocaine.
Today, few signs of any business getting done. Instead, it was Take Your Kids to Work Day. Some city councilors found it disturbing to see an admitted heavy drinker and illegal drug user leading around a group of teens. Councillor Mary Margaret McMahon objected.
I have hundreds of emails from my residents who have to explain to their young kids as young as 6 years of age what crack is. So time to step aside and not lead our city.
I'm the taxpayer. I want to ask the councilor a question.
Excuse me, sir. The interview ambushed by a Ford supporter.
Who gives you the right?
The controversy here literally drowns out everything else. Inside the mayor's office, Ford's stunning drug admission, it seems, caught even his own inner circle by surprise. Some were given just a few minutes warning that yesterday was about to become Crack Tuesday. Today, perhaps his sharpest young policy advisor quit, while other councillors like Deputy Mayor Norm Kelly made moves to limit the mayor's power to hire and fire people.
If those powers to appoint are taken away from the mayor just for this term, not on a permanent basis, but just to see us through to the election.
Maybe he hopes that would be enough. Some seasoned city watchers aren't so sure. Matthew Blackett publishes Spacing, an urban issues magazine. He says every file the mayor touches, like the billion-dollar subway expansion, is suddenly in doubt.
That kind of supervision of these projects, that managing of mega projects, those start to get pushed by the wayside because he's writing apology speeches.
As for big business, which makes up so much of this big city, the Board of Trade would only point to its website, which says the mayor should step aside. Former mayoral candidate turned talk show host John Tory says fewer and fewer developers will be willing to stand beside Ford for a photo op.
I mean, when you're opening a new development, when you're starting a new plant or opening a new plant here, creating jobs, it's a positive story, and you don't want to take the risk of having it sort of hijacked by some big scrum of the media asking about drugs.
Today, Rob Ford still isn't going anywhere. Neither is the controversy. James Murray, CBC News, Toronto.
James Murray was the veteran journalist and producer, best known for his contributions to the CBC. He was there for over 3 decades and was beloved by his colleagues. If you got your news from the CBC, you likely heard James Murray's voice 1,000 times. James Murray will be missed. Greg Fritz Hines was the drummer for Helix since 1983. FOTM Brian Vollmer wrote, "Fritz was like a brother to myself, Brent, Kenny, and many other people who worked for the band. I could go on for hours about the guy, but right now I'm devastated, as are the other guys in the band. We've known about this since last April, but were unable to tell anyone, at Fritz's request." Brian's referring to Fritz's battle with cancer. Fritz joined Helix in 1982 and stuck around until 1996. And then 13 years later, he rejoined the band. He played with them right up till his treatment for cancer. We just heard their biggest hit, Rock You, which went to number 27 in this country in 1985. Fritz was only 68 years old.
When I look out into your eyes out there, when I look out into your faces, you know what I see? I see a little bit of Elvis in each and every one of you out there. Let me tell you, well, Elvis is everywhere. Elvis is everything. Elvis is everybody. Elvis is still the king. Man, oh man, what I want you to see is that the big inside of you and me. Elvis is everywhere, man. He's in everything. He's in everybody. Elvis is in your jeans. Elvis is in Nutty Buddies. Elvis is in your mom. He's in everybody. He's in the young, the old, the fat, the skinny, the white, the black, the brown, and the blue. People got Elvis in them too. Elvis is in everybody out there. Everybody's got Elvis in them. Everybody except one person, that is. Yeah, one person. The evil opposite of Elvis. The anti-Elvis. Anti-Elvis got no Elvis in him, let me tell you. Michael J. Fox has no Elvis in him. Yeah, and Elvis is in Joan Rivers, but he's trying to get out, man. He's trying to get out. Listen up, Joni, baby. Elvis is everywhere. Elvis is everything. Elvis is everybody. Elvis is still the king. Man, oh man, what I want you to see is that the big ease out of you and me. Ow. Man, there's a lot of unexplained phenomenon out there in the world. A lot of things people say, what the heck's going on? Let me tell ya. Who built the pyramids? Elvis. Who built Stonehenge? Elvis. Yeah, man, you see guys walking down the street pushing shopping carts, and you think they're talking to Allah? They're talking to themselves, man. No, they're talking to Elvis. 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 You know what's going on at the Bermuda Triangle? Down the Bermuda Triangle. Elvis needs boats. Elvis needs boats. Elvis, 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 Elvis needs boats. Ah, the sailing Elvis. Captain Elvis. Commodore Elvis it is. Yeah, man, you know, people from outer space, they come up to me. They don't look like Dr. Spock. They don't look like Klingons, all that Star Trek jive. They look like Elvis. Elvis! Everybody in outer space looks like Elvis, because Elvis is a perfect being. We're all moving in perfect peace and harmony towards Elvisness. Soon all will become Elvis. Everything, everywhere will be Elvis. Why do you think they call it evolution anyway? It's really Elvis-lution. Elvis-lution. Elvis is everywhere. Elvis is everything. Elvis is everybody. Elvis is still the king. Man, oh man, what I want you to see, let the big ease out of you and me. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The time has come. Time has come to talk that little bit of Elvis inside of you. Talk to it. Call it up. Say, Elvis, heal me. Save me, Elvis. Make me be born again in the perfect Elvis light. That's right. You got that Elvis inside of you, and he's talking to you. He says he wants you to sing. Everybody gotta sing like the king. Like the king. Get that leg going now. Get your lip too. Not no fool Billy Idol lip either. Everybody. Yeah, we're rocking now. Elvis is with us. He's with us and he's speaking to us. He says, peoples. He says, peoples. Everybody gotta sing. Elvis is everywhere. Elvis is everything. Elvis is everybody. Elvis is still the king. Man, oh man, what I want you to see, that the big ease out of you and me. Elvis is everywhere. Elvis is everything. Elvis is everybody. Elvis is still the king. Man, oh man, what I want you to see, that the big ease inside of you and me. Elvis.
Thank you, man.
Mojo Nixon was the alternative musician, actor, and DJ, probably best known for this 1987 novelty hit, Elvis is Everywhere. He passed away while on a country music cruise on February 7th. Here's what his family had to say in a statement. How you live is how you should die. Mojo Nixon was full tilt, wide open hard rock root hog, corner on two wheels and on fire. Passing after a blazing show, a raging night, closing the bar, taking no prisoners, and a good breakfast with bandmates and friends. A cardiac event on the Outlaw Country Cruise is about right. And that's just how he did it. Mojo has left the building. Since Elvis is everywhere, we know he was waiting for him in the alley out back. Heaven help us all. Mojo Nixon was 66 years old.
I get hold of every worthwhile contender, and they all say the same thing. 5 weeks just isn't enough time to get into shape.
Oh, shape nothing, man. They're afraid. Hell, they know everybody in the world's gonna see this fight, and none of them got a prayer whipping me. So they're making excuses so they don't have to be the chump to get whipped in front of the whole civilized world.
All I can say is I'm a good promoter. But I don't know what the hell else to do.
I do. Without a ranked contender, what this fight is gonna need is a novelty. This is the land of opportunity, right? So Apollo Creed on January 1st gives a local underdog fighter an opportunity. A Snow White underdog, and I'm gonna put his face on this poster with me. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm sentimental.
Apollo, I like it. It's very American.
No, Juergens. It's very smart.
Carl Weathers was the actor best known for playing Apollo Creed in the Rocky movies, facing off against Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator, and teaching golf in Happy Gilmore. And all of that was fantastic. But I think I'll remember Carl Weathers best from his role in Arrested Development as Tobias's acting coach. The man knew how to make a stew.
Do you see me more as the respected dramatic actor or more of the beloved comic actor?
Whoa. There's still plenty of meat on that bone. Now you take this home, throw it in a pot, add some broth, a potato. Baby, you got a stew going.
Carl Weathers passed away on February 2nd at the age of 76.
She said, I seen you in here before. I said, I've been here a time or two. She said, hello, my name is Bobby Joe. Meet my twin sister, Betty Lou. And we're both feeling kind of wild tonight. You're the only cowboy in this place. And if you're up for a rodeo, I'll put a big Texas smile on your face. I said, girls, I ain't as good as I once was. I got a few years on me now. But there was a time back in my prime when I could really lay it down. And if you need some love tonight, then I might have just enough. I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. I still hang out with my best friend Dave. I've known him since we were kids at school. Last night he had a few shots, got in a tight spot, hustling a game of pool with a couple of redneck boys, one great big bad biker man. I heard David yell across the room, hey buddy, how about a helping hand? I said, Dave, I ain't as good as I once was. My, how the years have flown. But there was a time back in my prime when I could really hold my own. If you wanna fight tonight, guess those boys don't look all that tough. I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. I used to be hell on wheels back when I was a younger man. Now my body says that you can't do this, boy, but my pride says, oh yes you can.
Toby Keith was the country music superstar known for a litany of hits, including Who's Your Daddy?, Made in America, and As Good as I Once Was. Toby Keith died in his sleep in Oklahoma on February 5th, 2024. He was only 62 years old.
I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. May not be good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was.
Bills got crushed in Super Bowl 26. Marv Levy fired his defensive line coach, Chuck Dickerson. The assistant was known as a loudmouth. Dickerson went on to coach in college, but got fired there too. He has made the transition, though, from the sidelines to the airwaves, and now has made some very big waves on his radio talk show in Buffalo. Chuck Dickerson has made a second career out of second-guessing the man that fired him. Listeners call him the coach. Levy calls him Tokyo Rose. Jack Keefe has the story.
Yes, here we are. It's Tokyo Rose for the rest of the day, bringing you thoughts about One Bills Drive and our illustrious leader, Marvin Levy.
In 3 decades as a football coach, Chuck Dickerson never won it all. But in less than a year, the coach has become #1 among sports talk show hosts in Buffalo.
Hell, all I wanted was enough to pay my mortgage, man. I enjoy talking to the fans. I love it. I got to be honest, my ego tells me, I go out in the mall and say, hey, coach, how you doing? Hey, man, what's up? You know, I know people now. They know me. I like that.
At the age of 61, Dickerson would rather be behind the mic than on the sidelines.
I look at Marv Levy, and he's gray and pale, and he's tired, and he just got a 7-8 record, and I'm on his butt, and everybody's saying, what are you going to do about this? No, I don't want to coach. I just as soon be the guy saying, hey, Marv, why don't you try to win a couple?
Speaking of the Bills, the coach doesn't like Marv Levy's game plan for the team, and he lets everyone know it.
You know that the important thing is to fight back against what Tokyo Rose has got to say, not to prepare for the Colts, and not to worry about a third down defense that is scary in the National Football League.
He was an embarrassment to our organization.
Chuck the Coach Dickerson was the former CFL and NFL coach who I knew best as a radio host on WGR 550. The coach passed away in February 2024 at the age of 86.
Oh, he's gonna crush the world record pound! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Oh!
2 hours and 30 seconds. 2 hours and 30 seconds unofficial.
I feel so happy. A world record was not in my mind today, but it has come definitely. But I knew one day, one time, I'll be a world record holder.
Kelvin Kiptum set the marathon world record last year at the Chicago Marathon, which was ratified by the International Track Federation World Athletics earlier this month. Tragically, Kelvin passed away on February 11th in a road traffic accident in Kenya. He was only 24 years old, and he had run the 7 fastest marathons in history and was ranked first among the world's men's marathon runners.
Right now, it's time to kick out the jams, motherfucker! Well, I feel pretty good, and I guess that I could get crazy now, baby. 'Cause we all got it down, and when the dressing room got hazy now, baby. I know how you want it, all hot with that tight. The girls can't stand it when you're doing it right. Let me up on the stand, and let me kick out the jam. Yes, kick out the jam. I have to kick them out. Yes, I'm starting to sweat, you know my shirt's on, but I'm feeling
How many times have we kicked out the jams on Toronto Mic'd? We use that term because of the Detroit rock band MC5. Wayne Kramer was a guitarist, singer, songwriter, producer, and composer who co-founded MC5 in 1963. Wayne Kramer died from pancreatic cancer at a hospital in Los Angeles on February 2nd, 2024, at the age of 75. FOTM Vernon Reid of Living Colour describes Wayne as both a punk rock pioneer and guitar badass. I think that sums it up nicely.
Virgil just failed $1 million band by accident. We didn't talk about that again. Oh, wait a minute. But you can't make them great. Oh, ducked in underneath. Look out, he got him. You can't keep wiping him all the time as if he was a baby. But then again, it cost him the match. Virgil, you idiot. You paid the price before, too. Get the bell, Virgil, now. Now get in here and wrap that thing around my waist. It's going to be the story of your life, huh, Virgil? Wait! down! I remind you one more time about your family, about your mother. Give me a break. Virgil, what do you think you're doing? You get down there and you pick that belt up right now and you wrap it around my waist. Everybody's got a price. Oh, he did a price! And take it all back, Virgil! Look at the look on him! A standing ovation here for Virgil!
Virgil, whose real name was Michael Jones, was the wrestler best known for his 8-year tenure in the WWF, primarily as Ted DiBiase's personal assistant. Virgil died on February 28th at the age of 61.
I did Wordle again today. I'm a Wordle wizard, man. I did it in 3 tries. That's 3 days in a row, man.
Wow, you're really on a good streak.
I'm on a huge streak, that's right.
All right, let's see if I can continue my streak.
I know, you've been unbelievable. What is this all about? How are you doing this?
You know why? I sat on a bench this morning and overheard a lesson. So I've had thousands of hours of lessons. 2 minutes on that bench, this guy changed my life.
What kind of tips?
Vertical drop.
Yeah.
Horizontal tug.
Horizontal tug?
Vertical drop. Horizontal tug. Now, I've dropped before, but I've never tugged, and now I'm tugging.
Maybe I should tug.
You gotta tug.
Can you teach me how to tug?
I'll teach you how to tug.
This is fantastic.
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
I think this is the happiest I've ever been in my life.
I don't even know who I'm looking at right now.
How is something good happening to me?
No one on the planet would believe that you're
How
happy.
is this possible?
But I have better news for you. I'm leaving you in my will. I'm tweaking it, and you're in it.
No, don't do that.
It's done. You're in.
I don't want to be in. I have money. I don't need it. Give it to someone who needs it.
When I die, I want you to know how much I care about you.
I'm not going to keep it. I'm going to give it to charity.
You're my best friend. You're getting it.
No, I'm making a Sherman-esque statement about the will right now.
I'm sick of your historical references.
If nominated, I will not run. If bequeathed, I will not accept.
Well, I'm bequeathing.
Well, I'm not accepting.
Well, you'll have to accept.
Don't give it to me.
Don't hurt my feelings.
I'm not going to keep a penny of it.
You're hurting me.
Thank you, but I don't want it.
I'm giving it to you anyway, pal.
Oh, my God. Fuck you.
As I record this Ridley Funeral Home memorial episode of Toronto Mic'd, that scene I just played from the final season of Curb Your Enthusiasm is the most recent episode to drop, and I watched it exactly 2 nights ago. As I speak, That was the final scene featuring Richard Lewis and his longtime friend, Larry David. You might know Richard Lewis best from Anything But Love. He co-starred in that with Jamie Lee Curtis. You might know him as the neurotic Prince John in Mel Brooks's Robin Hood, Men in Tights. But I'm betting you know him best now for his role as himself on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Here's what Larry David wrote when he learned his friend Richard Lewis had passed away. Richard and I were born 3 days apart in the same hospital, and for most of my life, he's been like a brother to me. He had that rare combination of being the funniest person and also the sweetest. But today, he made me sob, and for that, I'll never forgive him. Richard Lewis died of a heart attack on February 27th. He was 76 years old.
Looks like the end. Looks like the end. Looks like the end of the world. Where is my man? I've lost my love, and it looks like the end of the world. Something ain't right. Something ain't right. Looks like the end of the world. Where is my man? I've lost my love, and it looks like the end of the world. I must have done something wrong. No mood tonight. Stars ain't bright. Looks like the end of the world. Where is my man? I've lost my love, and it looks like the end of the world. I must have done something wrong. No mood tonight. Stars ain't bright. Looks like the end of the world. Where is my man? I've lost my love, and it looks like the end of the world. Oh, baby, it looks like the end of the world. Hey, baby, it looks like the end of the world. Ooh, it looks like the end of the world.
Carol Brown was a Jamaican reggae musician who immigrated to Canada in 1972. Her singles included Touch Me Baby, I Won't Hurt Your Feelings, and Feel So Good. She was acknowledged as the top female performer and top female reggae singer at the Canada Reggae Music Awards in the 1980s and 90s. In 2019, she was honored as one of the Titans of Toronto Reggae. Carol Brown passed away on January 31st. This has been the Ridley Funeral Home Memorial episode of Toronto Mic'd for the month of February 2024. If you lost somebody you love in February, my sincere condolences. Peace and love to all. I'm Toronto Mike.